Alright, welcome back. So let's move on to start adding details. I'll click on the garment to select it. Let's take a look at the wireframe. Although it's all quads, it's nowhere near perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and first separate those guys, and then I'm gonna try to give them a better topology. To separate these guys, I can go ahead and do a auto group here. It's actually located in polygroup, auto group. I'm using a custom UI here. Okay, so that's the same thing. Polygroups, auto group. And that's going to allow me to have all those different garments separated based on connectivity into different polygroups. I'm going to go for sub2, split, and group split, and hit OK. That's going to allow me to separate those guys now into 3 different garments. Now let's move on to the simple one here, this guy. And let's hold it down shift and click on the eye to isolate, actually hide everything, and click on the eye again to get the garment back. This one back only. Now one of the things I want to go for is maybe I can get the original patches back, depending on if you need that or not. You can go for this UV mapping, polygroup actually. And you have this auto group with UV. That's going to allow you to separate the polygroup based on the UV they have, and they already have UVs based on the patches. So that's why we can separate these guys into polygroups. Alright, cool. Now, another thing I want to do is zero measure it to get better topology. I'm going to check on keep groups and lower down the smooth group. And then the target poly counts can be 20 to reserve more detail, right? And then I'm gonna go for zero measure. Now, depending on how dense your model is, it's gonna take different times, but I think it's okay to do that right now. So that smooth group, if you turn it off, you will have this edge here in the middle that is not quite nicely created. You can smooth it out. If you don't really care about destroying some of the detail you have, you can smooth the group. So let's actually take a look. Go all the way back to before I zero measure it. If you have the smooth group up to 1 and zero measure it, you get a little smoother result, especially on the edges. Oops. I guess that's because of my symmetry. Let's try that again. Huh. Still getting that. Maybe I can Control D to subdivide it a few times. This is gonna guarantee to really measure a smoother model. That could help. But let's see if it's doing better now. But that smooth group, sometimes you want to turn it off, especially you want to reserve the contour of the patterns you created. But that's gonna give you some unwanted results on some of the parts. But yeah, it's better now without with some subdivision before I zero measure it. So yeah, you can Control D a few times and then you zero measure it. Okay. So I Control D it maybe 3 times and then zero measure, and it's doing a much better job. All right, cool. So now I'm happy with the topology. Let's go ahead and have some edging on those holes. I'm gonna go for a duplication of this model, and then I'm gonna Control W for this new duplicated guy. I don't need polygroup for that. And BZM to go to Z modeler, hold it down space, while actually move the cursor to any of the faces. You can make your brush all back to 1 so it's easier to select. Change the target to all polygons, so you can just extrude out everything. It's a little slow for some reason. Let's change that to extrude. QMesh is too slow sometimes. Let's use the extrude polygons and extrude out. Yeah, that's faster. Okay. Now those white ones are the other model here, so don't worry about that. Let's extrude out just a little bit. Go to the back, hover the cursor to the face again, holding down space. Let's change the target to polygroup. That's going to allow me to extrude to the back. If you're doing that, you can hold down Shift button. That's going to change the extrusion to just moving those guys along the normal direction, which is exactly what I want. Alright, after that, I'm going to Control Shift and click on the garment here, and that's going to isolate and I'm going to Control Shift and click on it again to de-isolate or reverse the isolation. Let's actually turn on the solo, and then Control Shift and click on the back face again. That's going to give me actually all the thickness faces, and then I don't need the other guys. I'm going to go for a delete hidden to get rid of that. The delete hidden is going to be underneath geometry, modify topology, and delete hidden right here. I'm using again a custom UI to go there faster. And then I'm gonna go BZM again, and I'm gonna extrude out some thickness. Let me actually have the solo back, and so I can actually look at the original model. I can just have some thickness going outwards and mostly going inwards. I need actually to extrude them in on a different polygroup. So when I'm dragging these guys out, I can tap the Alt button to assign the new guys with a new polygroup. That way I can go to the back and then extrude out. That's going to allow me to extrude only the original faces there because they are now on a different polygroup. And I'm going to hold it down Shift to actually allow me to just extrude them out on the I move them out on the normal direction. Now if you look at our model now, we have a nice edging. Okay. I'm pressing D to smooth preview these guys. Let me actually give them some bevel on the edge. To do so, I'm gonna actually go for the stroke, free mesh, and turn out the border and crease edge and free mesh. That's gonna allow me to actually have the curves on the edge of those different polygroups, and then I can hold it down space while my cursor is on one of the curves. Holding down space, go to bevel and click and drag to bevel. That's gonna bevel all the edges all together. Cool. Now that's smooth preview. We're having a much sharper turning here. Now just to make things a little bit more interesting, I'm gonna go ahead and hold down space while my cursor is on one of the lines. Change that to insert a single edge loop. That's gonna allow me to drag out a edge loop here, and then I'm gonna extrude a poly loop here to extrude just a little edge down there to give the whole of the neck just a little bit more interesting detail. Okay. Alright. I kind of want it to be a little bit bigger too, so I'm gonna go ahead and BZM again. I'm gonna delete the edge loop here and the other edge loop here so I can actually move it out. Okay. Now Control Shift and click on it if I can. Or actually, let's shoot it out. And because it's just one polygroup or one loop, and I can go for bevel right away on the edge myself. Okay, cool. Alright, now we have some cool variations. I guess this is okay now, but you can keep venturing more if you wanted to. Alright, so this is how you add edging on the garment, and that's gonna be it for this tutorial. In the next one, we're gonna go ahead and see what we can do on the inside. Okay, see you next time.